This is Tottenham against Arsenal. They're playing the Tottenham fans over the loudspeakers inside the stadium. Referee Michael Oliver blows the whistle, and all of the players again, as we're so accustomed to now, and the support continues for the Black Lives Matter movement. And then the game begins. Tottenham kicking off in the white shirts, the dark blue shorts and the white socks with the blue trim, and Arsenal in their first choice colours, the red shirts with the white sleeves, white shorts and red socks. And David Luiz is caught in possession by Harry Kane. Lucas Moura's going to try a shot, which he does, but Martinez is able to move quickly to his left and save it and catch it quite comfortably. David Luiz.
Let's not hope it's not going to be one of those days for David Luiz, because it's a shaky start, isn't it? I have no idea what he's attempting to do with the ball. He's had a first touch and almost just tried to swivel his body in front of it while Harry Kane's pressurising him and not do anything with it. And it was just a bizarre move from him. Kane gets a toe on it, it pops into the space, and all of a sudden Lucas Moura's bearing down on the goal. It was a really sloppy start from David Luiz.
Just realised I've sat in the wrong place because I'm nowhere near a television, so I'm actually going to socially distance myself by another couple of metres from you, Matt. I hope you don't mind.
We were a little bit close, John.
Well, we must have been a little bit close actually, but now we're perfect. Now we are observing all of the protocols. Tottenham 0, Arsenal 0. This is BBC Radio 5 Live, 5 Live's Premier League Sunday. Listeners from all around the world are with us as well. Welcome to you on the BBC World Service. And we can tell everyone around the world there can't be too many better places to be, Matt, in the whole of the planet than here in North London on this beautiful, summery, sunny afternoon. So we are very lucky. And here it is with Tottenham in possession, halfway inside their own half. Ball pulled down by Lo Celso, then it's up towards Harry Kane. Kane turning and running at the Arsenal defence. He's going to try a shot from 25 yards plus, but it takes a double deflection, hits Mustafi on the edge of the area. Arsenal partially clear, but Davis takes it up again. Then Moura to the left-hand side. And now the ball played back into Moura, who's got an angle here, but he's surrounded by red and white. Moura still going. Tottenham, who've had a difficult week after their 0-0 draw at Bournemouth, and they did admittedly win on Monday night against Everton in what was one of the poorer games since the resumption of the Premier League. They have kept clean sheets in 3 of their last 4, but lots of questions being asked about where Tottenham are going, Matt, at the moment.
Yeah, I think goals is possibly more of an issue for Spurs at the moment, and just the style of play and the build-up into attacking phases, I think is something that is very questionable. And you say, where are Spurs going? And I think that's something that Jose Mourinho is going to have to figure out. And I'm sure he'll have a break after this season, and it'll be interesting to see Spurs start back next season.
Yeah, very mid-table really when you look at the Premier League lineup. Martinez's pass out is short, it doesn't find David Luiz. Son's onto it, Son looks up with a cross, but it takes a flick off the head of Ceballos on the edge of the penalty area, so he couldn't find either of the 2 Spurs players on the edge of the box, Lucas Moura and Lo Celso, and Arsenal are able to move it towards the halfway line, where Lacazette has dropped deep, shaven-headed, with that rather bushy beard of his. And then Arsenal start again from inside their own half. So it's Tottenham 0, Arsenal 0, the North London derby, and Tottenham in 10th, Arsenal in 8th this morning in the table. Just 1 point between them. Champions League is almost certainly out of reach for them, but both have ambitions of getting back into Europe next season in the Europa League. So that is the immediate target for them both. We have one more commentary to come today on 5 Live. That is the Bournemouth-Leicester match, which has lots of interest at both ends of the Premier League table. And obviously as well, we'll be keeping you up to date with what's happening in Southampton in the Test match, where when I arrived at the stadium this afternoon, England were strong favourites to win it. And in the intervening time, now the West Indies are the favourites to win the Test match. So we'll bring you regular updates on the score in the West Indies second innings, where they're chasing 200 to beat England and win the first Test. But Tottenham with the ball on the left-hand side with Harry Kane. Kane, who's scored a couple of goals since the restart, since his return to fitness. Kane, though, his progress is blocked by Bellerin, and Tottenham have got it back on the halfway line. And the ball is played forward over the halfway line. And Moura, returning to the Tottenham starting lineup, sets off on a little run, and Spurs have got it over on the left-hand side. I mentioned the fact that the The two teams arrive from the opposite sides of the stadium here, so they're using different dressing rooms. They're using Tottenham, the massive NFL dressing room, I believe, on the far side of the ground. But I was listening to Ali Bruce Ball at one of the games here when he said they come out a little bit like the gunfight at the OK Corral, and I now know, having sat here and watched it, exactly what he means, particularly the way that Mourinho actually emerges on that far side, dressed all in, it's either black or navy blue, walking across the field with his hand in his pocket. He did look as though he was about to take on Billy the Kid or someone. Well, it's Mikel the Kid who's down there, who is admittedly quite a lot younger than Jose Mourinho. This is for both of them their first North London derbies as the head coaches, respectively, of Tottenham and Arsenal. When the sides met back in early season in September, of course, it was Unai Emery and Mauricio Pochettino who took charge of the 2-2 draw. And here come Arsenal on the right-hand side, playing the ball back to Xhaka, middle of the Tottenham half. He had space there and he couldn't find the pass to Tierney. It was cut out by Sissoko, halfway inside his own half, and Sissoko up towards the halfway line turns because Tierney recovered very well there. And Sissoko plays it infield, put Lo Celso under pressure, and Sanchez, who's also returned to the Tottenham side after a couple of games on the bench, Davinson Sanchez, is able to see it back to goalkeeper Lloris behind him. Ball up towards Son on the halfway line. Son, square from him to Winks. And now Serge Aurier on the right. Aurier up against Tierney. Sissoko makes a good run into the full-back position, swings over the cross, but Martinez comes on a stretch and catches.
You probably have to say Spurs starting slightly the brighter team, looking much more on the front foot than what I've seen them lately. They're looking aggressive, trying to run forwards, get crosses into the box. Sissoko using his energy and his ability to drive forwards really well. But I just feel that the game has yet to really get going, has it? I mean, Spurs are having a go, but nobody's really set it like that. No real quality passage of plays. I think both teams are just feeling each other out still.
That's Matt Upson, Premier League defender, former Arsenal man, England World Cup player, with us on 5 Live in the World Service for this commentary, sitting very well socially distanced to my right. And I'm looking down on Arsenal, who are in the shadows, bright sunshine on about a third of the pitch on the far side of the stadium from us. And Arsenal trying to build with Bellerin, comes back in field towards Ceballos, oh, and then it's missed by Aurier. The ball's reached Tierney on the left hand side. Tierney's cross into the near post. Well, Lacazette went for it and he was followed all the way in there by Alderweireld, who did well and in the end came off Alderweireld wide of the near post for a corner.
Well, I think followed all the way in is the phrase, isn't it? It was great defending from Alderweireld. He didn't just leave the space, he saw the danger, went and attacked the ball and was very aggressive, gets his head on it. It's a really good defensive header.
Smashing delivery as well from Tierney.
It was lovely left-footed whip, wasn't it?
Certainly was. And I think Martinez, Lloris, the goalkeeper behind him, was in two minds as well. You could see it with his body language. So good was the whipped delivery. So it's a corner, first of the match to Arsenal, 0-0 the score. And here is the delivery to the near post, which is headed up and behind by Mustafi, who was challenging for it with Moura, high and wide and behind, and it's a goal kick, and it's Tottenham 0, Arsenal 0. So in the earlier commentary matches on 5 Live today, Wolves, good win for them, 3-0 against Everton at Molineux. Aston Villa, such an important win for Aston Villa. We'll be hearing from Dean Smith, by the way, the Aston Villa manager, will be on 5 Live at half-time after the 2-0 win against Crystal Palace, which means that Villa have now got 30 points, and they're 4 points behind Watford and West Ham, just above the relegation line, with 3 matches to play. So they've given themselves a chance, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all you can do at this stage, isn't it? Take each game as it comes and try and cope with the pressure. You know, the pressure's massive in some of these matches, and just to deal with what's in front of you, I think is the best strategy.
And in the Championship, important win for Stoke City down at the bottom, 2-0 against Birmingham, and Leeds 1-0 winners at Swansea, which means Leeds now need a maximum of just 4 points to be promoted into the Premier League for next season. They are nearly there as well. Ball is lost by Pepe, who couldn't get it under control, so Moura's got it back, moving in from the left hand side, flicks it over the top to Kane. Kane lifts it, and he just couldn't lift it past Martinez, who was coming out stretched high and just got his fingertips to it to pull it down.
Well, I was a little bit worried about David Luiz from the first kick of the game, and he hasn't quite got his head on yet to get into game mode and see what's happening. He's half asleep on this move. It was a lovely pass, lovely flight of pass as well, but your three centre-backs with just Harry Kane in the box, you have to lock in and know where your man is, and he just drifted into nowhere and Kane pulled right off his shoulder.
Well, if it carries on like this, Matt, for David Luiz...
you know what, John, sometimes you can watch him play and you almost, like you say, that first moment in the game is normally a marker with him, isn't it? And you know what's coming, and can he shake himself out of it? Can he jumpstart himself into a performance today? I think that's the question now, because the last two times he's been involved with the play, it's nearly ended in disaster.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I was on with Robbie Savage on his Premier League breakfast yesterday morning. He was asking about David Luiz, and I was making the point that it's almost with David Luiz with that long curly hair. As soon as he gets himself into positions where the hair suddenly is all over the place, those days are the days where you begin to think, is he going to have one of those?
Yeah.
And
we've already seen that problem. Do you not have that problem?
I don't think I ever have, frankly, Matt.
No, I know. No, I haven't. But I know exactly what you mean. It's like, that shows to me it's reacting as opposed to being proactive with knowing where you're at. That is a panicked piece of body language from him, isn't it? When you see that happen.
Well, Tottenham 0, Arsenal 0 already fascinatingly set up here. 11 minutes played. I'm really interested to know what's going on in Southampton as well. So, Eleanor, what's happening?
Yes, it looks as if the West Indies are going to get there. I think at the moment the target is 200. They're 162 for 4, and Jermaine Blackwood has just hit one over the head of Jimmy Anderson at mid-off. His outstretched fingers grasping mid-air. If he'd been about a foot taller, he might have got it. But it has been really West Indies' day from the point that they managed to turn it around. They were 27 for 3 at one point, but they have taken this on to 162 for 4. It has been a terrific effort, particularly from Jermaine Blackwood, but Shane Dowrich has stuck with him as well. Roston Chase with 37 earlier on, going really well for the West Indies. It sets it up so well for the rest of the series, but it looks like England, as it stands at the moment, unless there is some kind of miracle possibly involving Ben Stokes, are going to lose this test match.
Yeah, really good test match though, really good for the first one back. Here's Bellerin down the right hand side for Arsenal, and he's done well. He's managed to get the ball across to Aubameyang, who mishit it. That's a collector's item. And then Tierney on the left side of the box went for goal and blasted it across the penalty area and well wide of the far post. Matt Upson.
Well, Hector Bellerin showing real pace and drive on that far side. He has a slightly heavy touch which lures Davies in. He knocks it past him. Then I think it's Winks who's trying to recover. He outburns him, gets the wrong side of him, pulls a brilliant cutback straight to Aubameyang, who almost picks up that position on the penalty spot. And you're right, it's a really uncharacteristic miss. He doesn't get any contact. It's almost like he doesn't quite straighten his feet out just to guide the ball towards the goal.
So 0-0, Tottenham 0, Arsenal 0. And test match special for the ball-by-ball commentary from Southampton is over on 5 Live Sports Extra, on your digital radio, or via BBC Sounds, or via the BBC Sport website, Radio 4 198 longwave, calling all stations. And the TV highlights tonight, 7:30 on BBC Two, today at the test. Ball forward for Tottenham through the middle, and Son with a little header to Kane, who very nearly was able to give him it back, but Luiz was able to put in the challenge. Tottenham come again as they play from left to right. Moura with another lovely ball over the top to Kane, right side of the area, pulled it down. The touch was a little heavy actually. He still was able to cross it from the right under pressure from Kolasinac, but there was no one there in a white shirt, and Arsenal are able to bring it forward, but Alderweireld steps in on the halfway line.
You just feel that Kane's movement at the moment is too much for the Arsenal defence. He's pulling off, and the wavelength from Lo Celso and the other midfield players, that they know that the moment he makes that little spinny run, they're just lifting it over the top, and Arsenal are getting caught napping at the moment.
Well, it was widely reported, wasn't it, the other day after the Bournemouth match, that Tottenham had not had a single attempt on target, and that Harry Kane didn't touch the ball in the opposition box until the 78th minute. Well, they've rectified that. Here's Aubameyang though at the other end. Aubameyang giving it square to his right to Xhaka. Xhaka, white shirts in front of him, uses Tierney, but Tierney tried to slip the ball in between the legs of Sissoko, who blocked it, and Tierney has to go back towards the halfway line. So yeah, Kane's already had at least a couple of touches, possibly 3 inside the opposition penalty area. And And Arsenal with Xhaka to Mustafi on the right hand side, one of the three Arsenal central defenders that Mikel Arteta has gone with in recent matches. And as the ball goes out of play, the referee shows a yellow card to Giovanni Lo Celso and points to centre field. So something happened in centre field which has resulted in that yellow card.
He just almost shoved Ceballos, whether or not they've been having a little spat, but he just waited for him to run past him and almost put his arm out into him. Couldn't have obviously been that severe, but the referee saw it was right under the nose of the referee.
Yeah, it was well spotted, Michael Oliver, actually, because the ball had long gone, and he did just sort of shoved his hand into his chest.
It's a pointless yellow card, isn't it? I mean, if you're going to get a yellow card, and you want to do something like that, it wasn't a lot of contact. He just kind of threw it into his chest or around his neck area.
Yeah, Lo Celso and Ceballos, who are both former Real Betis players. Don't know whether they were there at the same time or not.
Could have potential, couldn't it?
Yeah. You see, Manuel Pellegrini has got the Real Betis job for next season. Here's Lacazette, who, oh my goodness, what a goal! What a goal that is by Lacazette. He looked up, edge of the area, slight angle to the left, and hit a shot that flew past Lloris into the top corner and gives Arsenal the lead in the behind closed doors North London derby.
Well, you're talking about a player who's really trying to cement himself as the number one centre forward in this Arsenal team, and if he scores many more goals like this, he'll go a long way to doing that. It's an absolutely superb strike. It just pops in just to the left-hand side of the 18-yard box, but he almost cuts across it with his right foot. The ball drops to him. It's a tackle, it's a heavy touch from Aurier, I think it is, but the ball's literally directly in front of him, and he arrows it into that near post, doesn't he? And I know you look at most goalkeepers and say, well, you get beat at your near post, but I can forgive that one because it is one heck of a strike, and Lloris has absolutely no chance.
Yeah, and also I think the shock factor as well, it was a poor touch by Aurier. I mean, Tottenham should have cleared it, but it bounced away from Aurier. Arsenal were all over it. Lacazette had it and hit a sort of bending shot that bent into the top corner and away from Lloris's dive to his right.
It was interesting because he didn't set the ball out to the side, did he? It was all directly underneath his feet, and he hit it dead straight, which I think is what led to the amount of power he generated, which, like you say, took Lloris by surprise.
So Tottenham 0, Arsenal 1, and Tottenham, after some promising moments, find themselves 1-0 down, and they have the ball inside their own half, played across towards Alderweireld on the edge of his penalty area. Jose Mourinho just stalking around on the edge of the coaching area. The goal coming early in the 18th minute. Lacazette, who scored when the sides met in that 2-2 draw at the Emirates in September. It was his goal that started Arsenal's comeback in that match just before half-time, that finished 2-2. Scored in the last away match as well, Lacazette, and that is now his 11th goal of the season, 9 in the Premier League. And Kolasinac at the back plays it to Luiz, who is struggling here. Son is onto the ball, he's away from Luiz. Son now chips it over Martinez and in, and it's 1-1. And David Luiz has been caught out again, and Son and Tottenham have taken advantage. Delightful little finish, and it's Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1.
You just can't believe it, can you? I mean, honestly, you cannot believe the goal that Arsenal have just given away. It's beyond sloppy. It's Luiz again. I mean, it isn't the best pass from Kolasinac, but the whole match David Luiz has been on his heels. He's not ready for the ball. Martinez passed him one early and he wasn't ready, and he nearly gave it away. But Kolasinac rolls it inside. He doesn't sort his feet out. Son, who is quick, pounces upon it, runs it to the side and just chips it over Martinez, diving out with his left foot. I mean, it's such a gift. Lovely finish from Son. Still had a bit of work to do, but what a gift Arsenal have just given Spurs there.
Lovely dinked finish on his left foot from the left side of the penalty area, but he was like a flash onto David Luiz. And you're absolutely right, Matt. David Luiz, when the ball landed in the back of the Arsenal net, immediately turned and looked at Kolasinac and put his arms and palms apart, as if to say, what were you thinking of with a ball like that? But from the very moment the ball was played to David Luiz, he was second best against Son to get there.
He's on his heels, John. Just the whole time, he doesn't look engaged. And I think that's something you can see in his body language. You can see he has certain games where he's just not engaged in the match. Well, this is one of them.
So Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. Lively start.
Very lively start, isn't it? I mean, it hasn't been a spectacle, has it, in terms of football? It's been okay, but it's definitely been some incident.
The pre-match talk was that there was going to be a plane with a banner flying above the stadium before the match, but I'm not aware of having seen it. There was just a buzz there, and I noticed various people pointing to the skies, and it turned out to be a helicopter flying over the ground. So whether we've seen that, whether it's still to come, we'll see, or whether perhaps they've thought better of it.
I'll keep a lookout.
Yeah, if you could. Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. So Lacazette in the 17th minute, and Son with the equaliser. His first goal since February for Son Heung-min after he was left out at Bournemouth on whatever night it was, I can't remember now. Here's Aurier from the right-hand side. The ball played across, bounces back. Sissoko on the edge of the 6-yard box, and actually Mustafi has to come across and clear it away behind David Luiz. Well, panic stations again inside the penalty area.
Spurs have to keep the pressure up, don't they? If you were Spurs, you'd be thinking, let's get this ball into the Arsenal 18-yard box whenever we can.
Absolutely. Here's Pepe bringing it forward. We're going to Southampton in a moment, but the ball's played across to Lacazette with his back to goal, edge of the penalty area, manages to work it back for Pepe on the right-hand side near the dead ball line. He plays it back. Xhaka's over there, and Xhaka knocks it back up the line to Bellerin. And Ceballos now forward of the centre circle. This Arsenal attack continues. Ball back out to the right. Xhaka to Pepe, who overhits the ball forward and through for a goal kick to Tottenham. So to Southampton. Eleanor?
And we thought that Shane Darrich was out. Ben Stokes, though, turns out he overstepped the mark, and it's another no ball, not called at the time, but then revealed on the review. So 168 for 4 still. If England are going to get that Ben Stokes-inspired miracle, it's going to happen now, because the West Indies are heading for victory. They need just 33 more runs, and Jermaine Blackwood has played beautifully. He's 84 not out. He was dropped a couple of times earlier on in his innings, but yeah, that would have been a catch at slip. Dom Sibley taking it, England celebrating, then showing on review that it was a no ball from Ben Stokes. 168 for 4. West Indies need just 32 more runs to win.
Yeah, that's the way that the TV technology works in cricket. It's taken a long time in cricket, but they've got there, I think, pretty much. You know, there's still the occasional one, but in the main it works well in cricket after many years of trial and error.
What are you referring to, John?
Now there is further news from Southampton.
Looks like Shane Darrich is out for the second time this over. No sign at the moment of a review showing the front foot, but this time Ben Stokes getting him caught behind by Jos Buttler, and he's walking back to the pavilion. Shane Darrich, he's out for 20. That partnership of 68 runs comes to an end, but coming out next will be the West Indies tall captain Jason Holder, and I wouldn't put it past him to finish this off and go out in style. And West Indies 32 runs to win, 168 for 5.
Yeah. It could be nail-biting and exciting yet, however. And here, Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. We've reached the drinks break. 23 minutes played. Matthew Upson with us, 5 Live in the World Service. We've seen a terrific little goal from Lacazette from just outside the penalty area, a shot that flew into the top corner. That was from a defensive error from Serge Aurier. And then at the other end, a couple of minutes later, less than 2 minutes, we saw Kolasinac put David Luiz into all sorts of troubles that he couldn't get out of. Son took advantage, and a lovely finish from him to make it 1-1.
2 mistakes, 2 goals, and this is the Premier League. You get punished when you make bad mistakes. I mean, I'm just a bit worried about the Arsenal setup at the moment. The back 5, back 3 especially. Harry Kane keeps making these runs, and you think, there's 3 of you, somebody take responsibility and lock in. But it's just an offside before the break when we were getting an update from the cricket there. It was half a yard, John, and both players had just let it ghost between them. He was offside, but it was fractions, and you kind of think at the moment they've really got to wake up and start to tune into this game. Yeah, it was Lo Celso, wasn't it, who played it through for Harry Kane, who was offside, but there wasn't a lot in it. And you know, on the evidence of what we've seen so far, it would be a bold person who would say that this would finish at 1-1. Absolutely.
Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1 is the score. I think a cloud has just perhaps passed in front of the sun, but so much blue sky overhead. Mikel Arteta, who's also darkly dressed, comes to the edge of his coaching area and claims that was a foul by Serge Aurier and Kieran Tierney, and referee Michael Oliver agrees. And yes, Matthew, you are very, very correct in the suggestion that what I'm saying is that in time, they will get there. And listen, it's not working well enough at the moment, VAR, but it was always, in my opinion, it was always likely, whatever happened, however it was implemented, that we'd have a few difficult years, which doesn't make it any better for those who are on the wrong end of them.
John Murray calling for patience with VAR. Like it, John.
Yeah, it's not a great headline. Yeah. The ball at the back with David Luiz, who plays the ball out to Mustafi on the right-hand side, and then Pepe goes all the way back to goalkeeper Martinez. It looks almost as though the two managers, the two coaches down there, Messrs Mourinho and Arteta, have had quite a firm word with the two teams, and there's suddenly an element of, right, let's get a grip on this.
It's been a similar start from both, hasn't it, in many respects. There's been some really sloppy play, and it's a little bit sluggish at times, and mistakes, and you kind of think, well, you know, both managers will be looking at it thinking it's not acceptable, and it isn't. So I'm sure you're right. I'm sure there were some words of let's get in gear and get your mind on the job, and it is different. You know, it's a North London derby behind closed doors. It is different, but you have to mentally cope with it, and part of that is getting yourself in the right mind frame to play properly.
Almost half an hour played then. 1-1 the score, and Son with that equaliser, his first goal in 6 appearances, and 17 for the season for him, and double figures in the Premier League for Son. Again, that's his 10th in the Premier League this season. So Luiz just passing the ball forward towards Xhaka, now infield towards Lacazette, who's in quite a deep lying position, the Arsenal goal scorer. Picks out Bellerin on the right hand side, who plays it past Davis. Pepe inside the box, back to Bellerin, who overhits his cross from the right that drops behind, and Serge Aurier has got a touch on it before it's gone over the line, you know. And that is a carelessly conceded corner by Serge Aurier, who had no Arsenal player anywhere near him.
I don't quite know what he's thinking. It looked like he was trying to bring it down, if I'm honest. Whether or not he thought the ball had gone out, he definitely contacts it on the line. So, you know, he has the final touch, but he could have just got his body in the way and just allowed the ball to drift out. Perhaps it might have just bent back in.
If Arsenal score from this, they'll be kicking themselves. Corner taken short, but there's no danger of that because Lacazette gives it back to Ceballos, whose cross in is easily cleared away by Tottenham. So on the halfway line, Bellerin starts off on another run down the right hand side away from Davis, but then couldn't keep the ball in, throw into Tottenham halfway inside their own half. So 1-1 the score, and a throw-in to Spurs over there on the far side of the stadium. All of the you can hear everything echoing around the Tottenham stadium, and yet the advertising hoardings, the electronic boards are constantly changing. We've got all of the Tottenham canvases with all of the various Tottenham mantras written on them. Can't smile without you, come on you Spurs, to dare is to do. We've got a few hashtags there as well, COYS, and all dotted around in that huge stand to our right with nobody in it. Tottenham with Lo Celso on the halfway line. Lo Celso, incidentally, producer George tells us that Ceballos left Betis a year before Lo Celso joined, so good work, George. They weren't there at the same time. Here's Son playing it forward towards Sissoko. This is on the Tottenham right. Aurier infield towards Lo Celso, and Lo Celso finds a pass to the right side to Sissoko. It rather bounced off him. Maybe he flicked it, but it landed at the feet of Aurier, who drives the ball forward, and it bounces out of play. Is that for a corner? It must be.
It is. Aubameyang just got himself back in with his defensive duties and blocked the cross. Aurier seemed to take a while to deliver it. He was slow getting it out of his feet, which allowed Aubameyang to drop back in and has deflected the ball out for a corner.
So, corner to be taken by Tottenham's number 18, the Argentine, Giovanni Lo Celso, who became a Tottenham player on a permanent basis in January, just walks down that slope, the Pat Nevin's pet hate, and takes the corner in towards the near post. It's headed away by Mustafi. Comes out for Spurs, and Harry Winks is able to play it, and it finds its way to Davis, who's going to try a shot and hits the angle of post and crossbar. What a shot that was from the Tottenham left back. It bounces down, flags up, and it's a free kick to Arsenal. What a strike.
He's trying to outdo Lacazette, isn't he? I mean, if that would have gone in, it truly would have done. It was further out, it was out of his feet, it was struck with real pace and venom, going into that top corner, just about a foot and a half away from the post. It's a beautiful strike, wasn't it? He almost caught it flat, so you see it move from side to side in the air.
Did he get it? He got a touch, didn't he? Did he get a touch?
It's very difficult to see from
the goalkeeper.
From that, possibly. He was close enough to it. Could have just got a fingertip.
The shot was an absolute snorter. That must have been 30 yards. 35? Definitely 35.
I'm just wondering the snorter, John. I've not heard that one.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Did you not hear it? Behind closed doors. Even with our enhanced stadium sound. It was snorter.
The snorter.
All the way onto the crossbar. And I think we'll give Martinez a little bit of credit for that. I mean, he hardly ever scores, Ben Davis. He's not scored for almost 3 years, and if that had gone in, I doubt very much whether he'd have scored a better goal. It didn't, though. It's still 1-1. Here's Pepe wriggling away, shooting low, and it bounces just wide of the foot of the post. Slight angle, right side of the D, and Lloris dropped to a knee, and I wondered for a moment whether it might be finding the bottom corner, but wide.
You're right. You know, sometimes when you can't see if it's going to go in or not, you haven't got the angle, you look at the goalkeeper's body language, don't you? And he did drop to the knee, almost like the helplessness of, like, I can't get there. And I felt that he thought it was on target with how his body language was, but fortunate for him, it was probably half a yard wide of the far post.
So it is Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1, but more chances at each end. And I'm delighted to say, I wasn't quite sure what we were going to get here, Matt, in all honesty, but I'm delighted to say that both of them, in the positions that they're in, are going for it, and are being extremely proactive. And after 2 very drab performances by Tottenham as well this week, there is a response to that from Jose Mourinho's team. And here's Tierney down the left-hand side, 2 Tottenham players with him, but as he cuts back, the ball runs away from Tierney and out of play for a throw into Tottenham in their own right-back position. Just over half an hour played. And Spurs making 3 changes, so Son and Moura back in the team, definitely improved Tottenham, as they would. Sanchez coming in at the back, Vertonghen's on the bench, Son's fouled on the halfway line, Bergwijn on the bench as well today, so he's left on the bench, Lamela on the bench, and Arsenal making just the 1 change as Lo Celso takes a quick free kick, but Mustafi heads it down. Ceballos now turning, his jet black hair heavily oiled, tied up behind his head, plays the ball across, and it's bounced back to David Luiz, whose hair is definitely not oiled. Pepe chips the ball out towards the right-hand side. Bellerin put under pressure by Moura, goes back to Mustafi, and now into the 6-yard box to goalkeeper Martinez, who plays it out to his left to David Luiz, who rolls the ball forward, and Arsenal played out from the back. Lacazette, and then Kolasinac. Aubameyang with a flick forward, not really been able to get into the game. Serge Aurier is caught in possession by Lacazette, might have been tugged back. Lacazette, he went down. Arsenal continue the move, and Michael Oliver blows his whistle and says, no, Arsenal have not found an advantage, we'll bring it back for the free kick, and Serge Aurier is yellow carded.
Not having a good time, is he, Serge Aurier, in this first half? He's again, it's another mistake. The ball bounces in front of him, he doesn't deal with it. Lacazette nicks in, and then he's the wrong side of him, and he's always tugging him back and trying to pull his shirt to get back along the right side, and just fouls him. It's quite a cynical foul, isn't it? And quite rightly a yellow card.
Yeah. Well, there are the players on each side here, Arsenal and Tottenham, the ones that you would say are capable of having one of those days. The leading contenders, Luiz and Serge Aurier, are both having one of those days.
They're not disappointing, are they?
No, they're not. Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1, so it's a free kick. Good position to swing it in. Pepe runs over it. Ceballos flights it into the box. Lloris comes and then rather theatrically throws both arms up in the air and allows it to drift straight through for a goal kick.
It's a disappointing set piece from Ceballos, wasn't he? Just floated it in the air. It was far too high. Nobody could threaten it. Had no pace or real danger on the ball. It was a wasted chance there from Arsenal.
Half-time approaching, 10 minutes away. Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. By the way, at half-time, as I say, we're going to hear from Dean Smith, the Aston Villa manager, after their very important 2-0 win against Crystal Palace. But we're also going to hear from Roy Hodgson as well, the Crystal Palace manager. If you haven't heard, Wilfried Zaha was racially abused on social media this morning, and so obviously Roy Hodgson will talk to him about that. And the Premier League have said the abuse is completely unacceptable, and we'll have more on that at half-time. It is it's just depressing, Matt, isn't it, really? You know, in this day and age, with everything that's going on, that sort of thing happens.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
So more on that at half-time. Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. And we'll be back to the cricket as well. Get your latest score for Can. 10 minutes to go to half-time here. 1-1 the score. And Moura, 10 yards inside his own half, turns away, but he has both Ceballos and Bellerin there. So he plays it back, and it finds its way back through Ben Davies to goalkeeper Lloris. Tottenham win it back on the far side, and now Lo Celso puts his foot on it near the halfway line. Davies, who thrillingly hit it was the crossbar, wasn't it, just next to the top of the post, but it was the crossbar.
Yep. With
a shot from in the region of 35 yards when the score was 1-1.
We've had one or two real wow moments, haven't we, in this game? It's like the goal and that strike, like you say, and some shocking mistakes. But I think overall the play can be better. It hasn't been either team's sharpest performance, has it, in terms of moving the ball? Tottenham are better than what they have been, but both teams making errors in possession as well as out of.
Yeah. So we've had wows and snorters. So it's decent. Here's Kane. Just forward of the centre circle. Now he has Aurier on the right hand side. Sissoko makes a run down into the left back position. Now back to Aurier, who uses Lo Celso. Now back towards the halfway line. Harry Winks just moves the ball to his left and uses his right foot to pass it to Moura out there on the far side. Now back in field to Lo Celso, puts his left foot on the ball and then lifts a pass to the right hand side to Aurier. Sissoko comes down into the left back position, back to Aurier, curls the ball in too close to Martinez, who's able to take it down and give a quick little ball out to Ceballos. Early pass from him downfield towards Aubameyang, whose touch, it bounced away from him. It bounces up now, hits the arm of Sissoko, but it bounces for Arsenal, who've got possession back in their defensive third. Ceballos again. We're going to have to see whether Arsenal make this a permanent move for Ceballos, but when I've seen him, he's generally impressed.
He's impressed me, and I think he was doing very well before the break in play, and Mikel Arteta's really getting a little bit more from him, definitely in a more of a defensive role.
Pepe moving from right to left, trying to work a shooting position, and Davies went with him all the way as he cut his way across, and all of the time he was looking just to see if there was that opportunity to strike goalwards, and in the end Davies just bundled him over, and it's a free kick. Was that a yellow card as well or not?
I don't think it was. It would have been very harsh to have given a yellow card. It was a genuine attempt for the ball shoulder to shoulder from Ben Davies, who had followed him all the way, but this is in a very dangerous position. It's very central, isn't it? And it's far enough out to be able to get that dipping shot up and over the wall.
Well, might have another wow moment here. Certainly got the potential.
It's tailor-made for David Luiz, this.
Yeah, it is. Where is he? Oh, he's in the D. Do you remember that one he took? Was it against Liverpool at Stamford Bridge?
Yeah.
Where he just came back on the pitch and he ran from the halfway line up to the free kick, hit it into the back of the net.
He's brilliant from this distance.
He is. But it's going to be Aubameyang, I think. Pepe is going to tap it, I think. Or Pepe walks away. It is Aubameyang who curls it. Oh, just wide. He hit it with his right instep, and the flight of the ball was pure over the wall, but narrowly wide of Lloris's left post.
It's that favoured dipping, they call it a knuckleball, John, it's struck, like say, with that instep or the real knuckle of the big toe. It's quite an interesting technique, but it just gets so much swerve and dip on the ball that people like to hit it the same side as the goalkeeper. So Lloris was that side, but it can really trouble the keeper because it moves so much in the air.
Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1, BBC Radio 5 live from the Tottenham Stadium, not the new White Hart Lane, even though it's closer to White Hart Lane than the actual White Hart Lane Stadium was. But they will get a sponsor's name eventually. It is unfortunate, isn't it, in the global circumstances that at the time they're looking for clearly a big money sponsor to take on the name of the stadium. That might not be the easiest deal to do in the current climate, and it's so important for this club going forwards. So I do understand why they want people to call it the Tottenham Stadium until they get the sponsor's name.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly a stadium worthy of a good sponsorship deal.
Yeah, here's Pepe on the right hand side coming in for Saka, who's on the bench. Here's the cross from him with his left foot cleared away by Aurier in the end on this side, the far side of the penalty area from him. Xhaka squared to Ceballos. 1-1 the score. Now Lacazette back to Ceballos on the edge of the penalty area. It's bounced for Pepe. Pepe shoots from the angle, but straight at Lloris, who's able just to drop down and gather the ball into his body.
He's looking to get a shot off Pepe quite a lot, isn't he? Cutting inside onto that left foot. We've seen how devastating it can be at times, and it's probably an area of his game that can improve his contribution with goals, but any opportunity just to shift it onto his left, he's looking to unload a shot at any opportunity.
Yep, the record signing, £72 million. And just 8 goals this season. We've seen flashes, but still, I don't know about you, I was surprised that Saka wasn't starting this game and that Pepe had come in, which shows how well Saka's done.
Well, he is you'd have to say he is the in-form Arsenal player of the moment. Saka, he's just been superb, and like I said, the level of consistency of the performance that he's producing is excellent. But Pepe's fresh. He's had a bit of a break from play, hasn't he? And obviously Arteta feels that he could offer something today. Yes,
he's become a father as well over the course of the last week or so, Pepe. And Saka, the 18-year-old, has started 9 of the last 10. So Mikel Arteta just managing him. Here's Lacazette lifting a ball to the edge of the area, but over Aubameyang. And it bounces into the penalty area for Lloris to field it. So Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. West Indies must be closing in on victory. They need 200 to win. No further news of wickets, and they need 22 more to win. And what were they 5 down last we heard? Yes. So just 22 to win. Test match special for the commentary to see if there is a late twist. David Luiz winning a header against Harry Kane, but he's headed it down and it's into the path of Son, and Son gives it to Moura, and Moura now on his right foot, his shot into the back of Mustafi, and the ball bounces away from goal and behind for a Tottenham corner.
Just a little bit deep, Arsenal, aren't they? When the ball goes long, there's so much distance that if an Arsenal player doesn't pick up that second ball, which didn't happen in that occasion, David Luiz won it, but Spurs players are breaking onto the midfield players, and all of a sudden they're backing off into the 18-yard box, and it's an effort on goal, and it's too easy to go from their defensive part of the pitch, Tottenham, to winning a corner at the opposition end.
It's Matt Upson with us on 5 Live in the World Service. The sun shining in a rather mottled style on the 2 canvases in that corner. All of the Spurs supporters' pictures. Here's the corner played in by Son, headed away at the near post. Ceballos is able to get there on the edge of the area and play it forward, and now Pepe is over the halfway line. Pepe running at Ben Davies, still going, tried to thread it forward for the run through the middle of Aubameyang, but Tottenham were able to block it, and it's actually bounced away for Tottenham to counter the counter-attack with Moura, and Moura moves away from Mustafi. Son on the edge of the area. The challenge comes in on him from Ceballos. Well timed that was too, although Son is able to keep possession. Moura again, and then another challenge comes in, this time from Lacazette, and Arsenal are able to win it back, and Pepe is again marauding forward, and he's again up against Ben Davies, and then takes it infield into the centre circle, and then uses Tierney on the left hand side, and Arsenal have the ball back. And I'm just seeing the 4th official, Graham Scott, wandering forward down there on this side of the field. He appears from the front of the top tier. below us with the electronic board. Here's Pepe just outside of the penalty area. Oh, Lo Celso a bit heavy with that challenge, but referee Michael Oliver says no free kick. And Tottenham, with Lo Celso, are able to bring the ball away, and then Lacazette chops down Lo Celso near the halfway line. And the yellow card is out for Lacazette for that, and it's a free kick for Tottenham.
It's an interesting decision from Michael Oliver, wasn't it? I kind of see where he's coming from, because I feel that Pepe knocked the ball heavily and then almost played for the contact. Lo Celso coming across to try and win it. Yes, he did block him and he did get across his path, but I don't think Pepe was in real control of the ball, so I can understand why he hasn't given the foul. And then Lacazette, like you say, just clipping the heels of Lo Celso, a bit of a silly foul, and to get a booking for that, he's got to be careful now.
On the subject of players who did play together as opposed to players who didn't play together, remember Lacazette and Lloris played together at Lyon. So Lacazette has smacked one past his former teammate and goalkeeper. And we have our very own Steve Crossman to thank for that one. Good work, Steve. Here's Lo Celso, 30 yards out. Lo Celso to the right-hand side, to Sissoko, then back to Aurier, who teases a ball into the penalty area, but straight to the feet of David Luiz, who's able to half volley away. So we're in added time at the end of the first half. And 2 minutes have been added on. We've really just had the stoppage for the drinks break, so I think that is fair on this occasion. 1-1 the score after Lacazette, with that goal, gave Arsenal the lead, but then Arsenal contrived, poor pass from Kolasinac, put David Luiz in a hole which he was far too deep for him. And Son was able to take it on and finish really nicely left side of the area. Here's Moore on the left side of the penalty area. He was up against Bellerin and Ceballos, who were able to block his progress. And then Pepe is bundled over again by Ben Davies, not for the first time. And as a result of it not being the first time, he is booked, Ben Davies.
There's been a few bookings, hasn't there? It was a clumsy foul from Davies. Pepe turning so sharply there. He got the ball under control and really swiveled under pressure from Lo Celso, and he gets the wrong side of Davies and he tries to claw him back. And it's one of those where he just clumsily runs into the back of him and clatters his heel and smashes him to the floor, and it looks really bad. And referee dishing out a yellow card, which, you know, it's not been too ill-tempered, but there's been quite a few bookings.
Yeah, 4 I think, Matt. Ben Davies, Lo Celso, Aurier, Lacazette. So there's the half-time whistle. It's been entertaining. 1-1.
Very entertaining, you have to say. I mean, I don't think it's been the highest quality game from either team. Both teams can play better, in my opinion, but we've seen some great efforts on goal. We've seen mistakes, and it's been hard fought, you have to say. So all in all, a pretty entertaining first half.
So off go Tottenham, away over there to the far side, and Arsenal turn and head towards us to go to the regular dressing rooms down on this side of the stadium. Lacazette with the opening goal, and Son equalising for Tottenham within a couple of minutes. So Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1 is the half-time score here in North London.
Couple of snorters and a knuckleball, Matt. Can't ask for much more.
Yeah.
The snorters. I've never heard of a snorter. Have you heard that before, Steve?
Well, it's a rip snorter, isn't it? I've
heard
that. Yeah.
It's a new one for me.
That's what all the kids are saying, apparently.
Well, I mean, that is part of the entertainment, but as always, David Luiz is doing his best to join the fray. 85058 at 5 Live Sport, we've had a few messages about this, including Josh. I know David Luiz has made some absolute howlers, but he can't be blamed for that. It was a bad pass from Kolasinac, which it was, but he was, Luiz, spectacularly flat-footed, wasn't he?
Flat-footed is an understatement. He's on his heels, and he's been on his heels right from the kickoff. So he's absolutely right. And we mentioned, you know, the pass puts him in trouble. Absolutely no doubt. And I think Kolasinac is in a similar mode, if I'm honest. They're both drifting a little bit through the game and just getting through it. But right from the off, what David Luiz did in the first minute of the game, trying to shield the ball, and then he had a mix-up with Martinez when the same thing happened. He passed the ball in front of him because he's anticipating David Luiz to be on the front foot, to be ready to receive the ball and to be proactive with doing something with it, and he just isn't.
I was thinking, Matt, about that link between Hugo Lloris and Alexander Lacazette, and thinking, well, maybe he shouldn't have been surprised. But to be fair, it's not really a Lacazette goal. That it's quite rare to see him smash one in from 30 yards. No,
you're absolutely right. I haven't seen him score many like that, and it was an opportunist moment, wasn't it? Because the ball came to him with another mistake. From Aurier, and it popped into his feet. He had a touch, and the ball was directly underneath him. He didn't shift it to the side, which you normally see players do. It was very underneath him, and he struck it so cleanly that it whistled past Lloris in the near post, and he had absolutely no chance with it.
Matt, John, thank you very much. We'll be back for second half commentary. Really good half that. Very much enjoyed it. Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1 already today. Wolves 3, Everton 0 and Villa 2, Crystal Palace 0. Huge result that for Aston Villa. We're going to hear from both managers shortly. Speaking of snorters, for 4.5 days in Southampton, it was absolutely thrilling. But now Ellie Oldroyd, West Indies, creeping toward that line.
You would have thought so, Steve. Yes, they are 180 for 5, so they need just 20 more to win. And Jermaine Blackwood, who has played so well for his 89 not out, he has been so patient. He's actually out in the middle at the moment with Jason Holder, the West Indies captain, and there is a heads difference between the two of them. Holder is so much taller than Jermaine Blackwood. It's actually quite funny watching them out there batting together. There is a little tiny subplot to this because Ben Stokes has been bowling at this hotel end at the Ageas Bowl, and if he manages to get the wicket of Jason Holder, it will be the first time ever in a test match that the captains have dismissed each other in every innings. So Holder has got Stokes' wicket twice, and vice versa once so far. So we will wait to see if that can happen. That would be a little footnote probably in the grand scheme of things. But you have to say that if the West Indies win this, then they will have deserved to have won it, because they have dominated more sessions than England. England didn't bat well in the first innings. West Indies bowled really well. Then West Indies batted much better in the first innings. Switched around a bit in the second innings. England actually did pretty well until the closing stages. But today, apart from that morning session, when, just to remind you, they were 35 for 3 at lunch, the West Indies 27 for 3 at one point. They have absolutely taken over and dominated the England bowling attack, and questions to be asked and rethinking possibly to be done between now and next Thursday, because that's when the second test match starts up at Old Trafford. So there are things that maybe England will have on their mind, bowling selections perhaps. Joe Root will of course return as captain when we go to Old Trafford next week and for the final test match as well. But it's been a gripping and absorbing test, but it doesn't sound as if it's going to be a rip-snorting conclusion, Steve.
Thank you very much, Ellie. Yeah, looks like West Indies are inching towards only their second test victory on English soil since the year 2000. Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1, half-time on this 5 Live Premier League Sunday. We've still got Bournemouth-Leicester to come. Particularly big game for Bournemouth, that, given Aston Villa's 2-0 win over Crystal Palace. So we've got Dean Smith to come, Roy Hodgson as well. We'll get the news first on 5 Live. Here's Richard Foster.
On digital, BBC Sounds, smart speaker and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Up to 200 workers have been told to self-isolate on a farm in Herefordshire after more than 70 tested positive for COVID-19. The vegetable grower AS Green has gone into lockdown and staff have been segregated in the mobile homes where they live. 21 more people are known to have died from COVID-19 in the UK. It brings the total number to 44,819. Primark says it won't ask for a £30 million bonus, which was announced by the Chancellor Rishi Sunak earlier this week. Companies will be paid £1,000 for each worker they bring back from furlough. The company says all 30,000 staff it put into the scheme are now back at work. A murder investigation has started after a man died in a suspected shooting in South London. The victim's thought to be in his 30s. He was found collapsed in Penge in the early hours of this morning. And the Home Secretary Priti Patel has been to Calais to sign a deal about immigration and border management. It'll establish a joint intelligence unit between the UK and France, which will focus on tackling smugglers.
Hear the best of 5 Live Sport on BBC Sounds with That Peter Crouch podcast.
We got a few beers and then we got escorted back to an even better place, which was like the VIP place with Crouchy. So he's already half getting signed just from them contacts. I'll make it clear to anyone who's listening, my weakness is free stuff.
And 5 Live's Football Daily.
What is the plan? Who is running the club? Who is running the transfer policy? Why has he got 1 year left? Your star man on a a fortune, not trying a leg, and that's the way it looks.
Sport on Sounds. All your 5 Live favourites. Listen using the BBC Sounds app.
More live Premier League football than anyone else.
5 Live's Premier League Sunday.
With Steve Crossman.
And we'll make our first trip to Bournemouth shortly ahead of our final commentary game of this busy 5 Live Premier League Sunday, which is Bournemouth against Leicester City. Just catch you up on what's been happening elsewhere. Earlier today finished Swansea 0, Leeds United 1. Last minute goal for Leeds. That means they're 3 points clear at the top. More importantly, they're 6 points above Brentford with just 3 games to go. So that 16-year Premier League absence for Leeds seems like it's coming to an end. They might actually pass Aston Villa on the way up and down, although Villa themselves got a huge result today, beat Crystal Palace 2-0. So they're still very much in the relegation zone. They're third bottom, but they are now 4 points from safety. Watford just above them in 17th place. They beat Palace 2-0 at Villa Park. Here's Dean Smith with Rob Nothman.
Well, Dean, results didn't go your way yesterday with West Ham and Watford winning, so the pressure was really on today. You must be so pleased with the way your team responded.
Yeah, I am, because I know these players can play under pressure. We've found it hard this season. There's no getting away from that. But the last 2 games have been really tough against Liverpool and Manchester United, and I think we've gone and competed. But for the VAR decision, the Man United game, we were on top, and that was their first shot. So we had to take some positives. It can be hard when you read results from the day before and you know how tough the task is. But we said to the players, the analogy is it's a semi-final today. We've been playing tournament football since we came back. We haven't got the points we feel we need, but we're still in the tournament. So first leg of the semi-final, we need to go and win it, and we've managed to do that with a good performance.
And one last thing, 3 big cup finals in a way coming up right now. You're going to need 3 wins, or certainly 2 wins and a draw, aren't you, to give yourself a chance?
We need to give ourselves a big chance. West Ham and Watford play each other next. So they're not going to get. Both of them can't go and get 3 points, so we know that. But we've just got to concentrate on ourselves, and ourselves is about putting in performances like we did today. And hopefully getting a result at Everton.
That's Dean Smith. I'm afraid we did have an incident this morning, though, which put all talk of promotion, relegation really into perspective, far more serious. Crystal Palace striker Wilfried Zaha was subject to racist abuse on social media prior to the game. This is what his manager, Roy Hodgson, had to say after the match.
It was a despicable act and a very cowardly act. It's very cowardly to, give that sort of abuse to someone that you don't know and have probably never met, and hide behind a address which no one can trace. So it's a very cowardly thing to do. But of course, the worst thing for us in some ways is, although Wilf didn't play badly, and I think he actually did quite well to take that in his stride and get on and play his football. But of course, the idea was behind this that you will upset one of the opponent's top players and maybe put him off his game and give your team a chance to get a result that they're so desperate to get. So that is another sad part of it all. That firstly you have to accept that there are people in the world who are such evil people that they think this is the right thing to do, to abuse somebody they don't know in this cowardly way. And then you pay a further price that unfortunately it could affect the player's performance, and as a result their team get the benefit from it. So all I can hope is that the person who did this is found, and I know that the authorities will do their very best to find him. And when they do find him, I hope he'll be severely punished.
That's Roy Hodgson. Since he gave that interview, West Midlands Police have confirmed on their social media feed they have arrested a 12-year-old boy from Solihull. Other stories for you today. Lewis Hamilton won the F1 Styrian Grand Prix ahead of his Mercedes teammate Valtteri Bottas. Golf's Austrian Open has come to an end as well. That's the first tournament on the European Tour since lockdown. Scotland's Mark Warren won on 13 under par. He who won the World Cup of Golf alongside Colin Montgomery will be back for second half commentary at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Really good first half there. Spurs won, Arsenal won. Then we've got Bournemouth against Leicester City. Your commentary team will be Ali Bruce Ball and Karen Carney. Good evening.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hello. Bournemouth now, Karen, particularly after that result for Aston Villa. It is a huge game for them.
Wow, it's massive pressure.
I don't think anyone expected Villa to do that today, but credit to them, got out a good result. And like we said, the pressure is massively on Bournemouth. They have to get a result today, and it has to be 3 points.
It's one of those things, Ali. We've probably been saying Bournemouth have must-win games for about 4 or 5 weeks, but now we really mean it.
It is. I really do think it is tonight, Steve, because if you look at it, Bournemouth are on 28 points, and actually, OK, Villa have gone above them with their win today, but they're more concerned about West Ham and Watford, because just getting ahead of Villa is not good enough. They would still remain in the bottom 3 as things stand. So that's 2 wins at least to get level with West Ham and Watford, but their goal difference is inferior. So I think it's got to be 3 wins, because you think West Ham and Watford, they're going to at least pick up 1 point each in the game between each other. Their next game, Bournemouth, is away at Manchester City on Wednesday. Now, I know that is pre-FA Cup semi-final Manchester City, but honestly, with their squad, they could put any team out. I wouldn't expect Bournemouth to go there and get anything, which means I think this is must-win. I think they have to win this. And OK, let's say they lose at Manchester City. They then have 2 left, at home against Southampton and away to Everton, who are not in great form. If they can win this today and give themselves that boost, they still have a chance. I just think they've got to win it. But equally, I think it's just as important for Leicester because they've got to presume that the likes of Manchester United, Wolves, Chelsea, Sheffield United aren't going to drop any more points. Yes, they still got to play Sheffield United and they've got to play Manchester United on the last day of the season. But I think it's must win for Leicester as well. If they really, really want Champions League football, I think they've just got to presume the others are going to win, which makes it must win.
Yeah, both teams needing to win hopefully should give us a very, very good game. So we'll find out exactly what Bournemouth need to do in that one. They're at home to Leicester City. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff. West Indies very much closing in now. 185 for 5. 15 runs required for them to win the first test. Fantastic test match that's been. But in this final session and a half, West Indies have really taken over. If you want commentary of that, you can go to 5 Live Sports Extra here on 5 Live Premier League Sunday. It's Tottenham Hotspur against Arsenal. Great first half. 1-1 at the interval. Matt Upson is alongside John Murray.
Thank you, Steve. Yes, the Tottenham players just about to appear into the sunshine on the far side. Arsenal are already out there, and I can see that they're not making any changes. So I'll run you through their team first, which is Martinez in goal, Mustafi, Luiz and Kolasinac, the central defenders, Bellerin and Tierney, the wing-backs, Ceballos and Xhaka in the middle, Pepe on the right, Aubameyang on the left, and Lacazette up front as Tottenham now to the backing of one of the favourite tunes here, trot out onto the field. Just looking to see if there are any changes there, and I don't think there are, Matt.
Doesn't look like it, no.
So I'll run through their team as well. Lloris, the goalkeeper, Aurier, Sanchez, Alderweireld and Davis, Sissoko and Winks, Moura and Son, with Lo Celso behind Kane. So let's hope we have more of the same sort of entertainment, Matt, in the second half.
Yeah, it has been entertaining, hasn't it? And like I said, I think the quality can raise from both teams, but it has led to a game with some incident and a bit of excitement. So yes, more of that, please.
Yeah, Tottenham 49 points, Arsenal 50 points in the upper mid-table. Wasn't meant to be like this. The teams that were finished 4th and 5th in the Premier League last season. So certainly they will be looking to improve their position in the table in the remaining couple of weeks of the season, and B, do a heck of a lot better next season. Before we get underway for the second half though, Eleanor Oldroyd.
Jermaine Blackwood is out, just 5 runs short of his century. You've got to feel sorry for him because he has taken his team so close to victory here. Ben Stokes taking the wicket, just looped up towards Jimmy Anderson, who took the catch at mid-off, and you can maybe hear in the background the applause of all of his teammates. He should be showing his back to the crowd, of course, as he walks up the steps here at the Ageas Bowl. But Jermaine Blackwood, man of the match performance potentially for him. He's out for 95. West Indies 189 for 6. They need 11 to win.
Thank you, Ellie. From the test match behind closed doors to the North London derby here at Tottenham Stadium, behind closed doors, all of the grey seats, thousands and thousands of empty grey seats in the various tiers of the stadium. And Xhaka hitting a pass badly out of play on the far side for a throw-in to Tottenham. The second half underway, 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC. It could yet be a nervy finish at the test match. One more wicket for England would make things very interesting, and you can hear it, the ball-by-ball commentary on Test Match Special over on 5 Live Sports Extra. But Arsenal bringing the ball away from the back with Mustafi. Now here's Bellerin on this side of the field. As Arsenal play from left to right in the red shirts with the white sleeves, white shorts and red and white socks. And Tottenham in their first choice kit, the white shirts, the lily white shirts, very dark blue shorts and white socks with the blue trim. Mustafi still inside his own half, Arsenal's number 20, hoisting a pass over there to the left hand side to Tierney, and now here's Xhaka. Arsenal, Matt, not able to get Aubameyang into the game at all during the first half. I would suspect they would want to see him more involved in the second.
Yeah, it's interesting to see whether or not, too much space is taken up.
Davis tugged back, Lo Celso rather, tugged back their centre field by Lacazette, free kick to Tottenham.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how the formation will affect someone like Aubameyang, playing this formation with wing-backs, because he normally operates so well from that wide area coming in. And at the moment you have Bellerin and Tierney, obviously going to be more advanced, higher up the pitch. And I think they're just still in that process, Arsenal, of figuring out from an attacking perspective, the spaces on the pitch, the different combinations and the moves that they need to put together in order to get him on the ball more.
Matthew Upson alongside us, high in the stadium here, the Premier League defender, England international, former Arsenal player, and we are watching Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1 on this beautifully warm summer's afternoon in July. Supposed to be the Euro 2020 final today, Matt. I looked in my diary this morning and there it was, crossed out. So on this corresponding weekend next year, it should be the Euro 2020 final. We've got the England captain down there. I wonder what he's going to be doing on this weekend next year. Scotland's Kieran Tierney in possession now. I wonder what he's doing. That would be it. If he ends up playing in the final this time, he's going to have the year of his life, Kieran Tierney. And from an England point of view, let's hope Harry Kane this time next year hasn't just had a fortnight in Dubai. Here is Bellerin infield towards Ceballos. Seems like 5 minutes since this weekend last year. I was listening to Test Match Special saying it was the Cricket World Cup final on this weekend, this day last year, and that amazing Wimbledon final.
It's been a tough year to get a scale of time, isn't it?
Very, yeah. Here's Mustafi on the halfway line. Mustafi then finding Bellerin on the right, infield towards Ceballos with that little ponytail, if that indeed is what it's called, bobbing. Ball out to the left hand side to Tierney short back and sides, taking on Aurier, then back towards the halfway line to Kolasinac, who finds Tierney's low ball into the near post. That's cleared away by Davinson Sanchez, and Tottenham now start again to bring the ball forward with Lo Celso, and that's a lovely pass from Lo Celso into the path of Moura approaching the penalty area on the left hand side up against Mustafi, who puts in the challenge at the crucial moment. Well defended. Mustafi blocked it behind for a corner.
Well, lovely. Lo Celso saw the space in behind, didn't he, and he looked at the matchup of Lucas Moura and Mustafi and thought, I fancy this, I'll stick it in there, and he did, and it was a lovely ball. Ran Mustafi into the box, and in fairness to him, he didn't really commit him, did he? Mustafi held his ground, shepherded him onto his left foot, which is the right thing to do, and managed to get the block.
Lovely Lo Celso. Makes him sound like a middleweight boxer, doesn't it? Giovanni Lovely Lo Celso. Corner then, after that very good piece of defensive work by Mustafi. Son swings it in, it's punched away, and that was a boxing punch from Martinez. Right hook, ball over the top into the Arsenal penalty area, but the offside flag, or indeed I think there was a shove or a push by either Alderweireld or Sanchez. Free kick Arsenal.
I've been quite impressed with Martinez since he's come into the team, John. He really has settled into the team well, and you have to say the back three the back four don't look rattled by him, or he's been very confident right from the off.
I agree, and I've seen quite a bit of Arsenal, more on the television than live actually, but I saw him interviewed actually the other night, and after the Leicester game, and I thought he had an assurance about him. He's been at the club for 10 years now, Martinez, and has been off on loans here, there, and not quite everywhere. It was Reading last season. This is only his 32nd appearance for Arsenal in the first team in 10 years, and he's got the opportunity because of the injury to Leno, and as Matt says, He does seem to be taking it. Here's Ceballos through the middle. He's tugged back, but he's still going. Thought referee Michael Oliver might bring it back, and he has. It was it Winks or Lo Celso who pulled him back? Winks.
I think it was Winks, and him and Lo Celso were a little bit bamboozled by the lovely little shift of body weight from Ceballos when he received the ball. It was a tug from Winks, and then Lo Celso came in and won the ball, but the referee quite rightly has pulled it back.
Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1 in our third Premier League commentary match of the day. We've got Bournemouth-Leicester to come. It's a 7 o'clock kick-off, that, with Ali Bruce Ball and Karen Carney. But a free kick to Arsenal, and it is going to be lifted in right down the middle, headed away by Aurier, but it fell at the edge of the area to Kolasinac, who had a very lazy and unconvincing, uncertain swing at the ball, which sends it well wide from the edge of the box.
I think he didn't realise he didn't have much time, because it dropped onto his left foot, which was perfect for him really to get a shot off, and he tries to have a first touch in the air to keep it in the air and then volley it, and Winks just got back and nicked it off his toe.
I'll tell you what, it lacked conviction, the effort from Kolasinac. That's what it did. 7 minutes played in the second half. Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. West Indies closing in on victory. England need 4 wickets, but West Indies need only 10, 15 or so runs to win the Test match. Not long to go. You'll hear it on Test match special. And Arsenal with the ball back towards Martinez on the edge of the penalty area. 10 runs needed. West Indies, England still need 4 wickets. And Mustafi into the centre circle to Xhaka, plays the ball to the left hand side to Tierney. It's just a thin sliver of sunlight now on the far side of the pitch, lengthwise. Lacazette, Arsenal's goal scorer in the first half. That was quite a goal, and you can see it on Match of the Day tonight. Match of the Day 2 at 10:30 on BBC One. Very pleased to say that Mark Chapman is back at the helm tonight, so a big welcome back to the airwaves to Mark, and he'll be on 5 Live tomorrow night as well, Mark, on 5 Live Sport, when we'll have commentary on Manchester United against Southampton live from Old Trafford. Here is Lacazette, middle of the Tottenham half, to Ceballos. A nice turn from Xhaka, who picks out Bellerin right side of the box, who was shaping to shoot, and then in came the challenge, Ben Davies, and also Lucas Moura, and it's behind for a corner.
It was great defensive work from Moura. You know, lovely piece of play. Xhaka seeing the pass to Bellerin, slightly heavy touch, but as Davies comes along to block, Moura just slides in from the side and gets a toe to the ball and puts it out for a corner. It was sharp defensive play from him.
Yeah, so it's a corner to Arsenal, their first of the second half. Ceballos just gets the ball from down the slope and raises his right arm. He's backed up the line here for this right-footed corner, which is deep, swinging out, headed back across the penalty area and out towards Ceballos, who's able to turn away from Lucas Moura and then sends a back heel into the path of Pepe, and Pepe's left-footed cross to the back post is headed away by Alderweireld, and then an overhead kick from Mustafi, which Lloris had to be quite smart and backpedal and watch very carefully and catch under the crossbar.
Well, to say that was an ambitious attempt would probably be an understatement. It was a
shot on target, though.
Yeah, it looped up in the air. I can see what he was trying to do, and his technique actually wasn't too bad. He just didn't get the contact, and the ball harmlessly kind of looped up in the air.
And so Arsenal come again with Aubameyang, who pulls over the ball towards the edge of the penalty area, but Ben Davies stepped forward, beat Pepe to it. Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1, as it was at half-time, and Arsenal building again. Jose Mourinho, if you heard 2 hands being clapped there, they were the hands of Mourinho. The ball being played to the right hand side but over the head of Bellerin, and it drifts out of play for a throw-in to Tottenham.
You mentioned the shade on the pitch earlier, about how the shade's now covering. I can't tell you as a player how happy you are when the pitch is shaded at a stadium. When you're playing on the side where it's open to the sun and then you change round the second half, it's honestly like a breath of fresh air to be running in the shade compared to having the sun beating down on your head.
Almost quite literally, like a breath of fresh air. Yeah. Let's go back to Southampton to the Test match. Eleanor Oldroyd.
Yes, we're getting closer here, Steve. John, 193 for 6, so The target is in single figures. They need just 7 more to win. Jason Holder is still there on 14, and John Campbell, who was hit on the toe and retired hurt earlier in the morning, hit on the toe by Jofra Archer, Yorker no less, is there. He's on 1, and I think whatever Ben Stokes can do now, he's not going to stop his first and so far only Test match as England captain ending in defeat.
Thanks, Ellie. Back there shortly. Missed nothing here because there was a disputed decision that has ended up with Jose Mourinho ticked off by the 4th official. But here's Aurier, right side of the box, drives it across, but drives it straight into the first Arsenal defender, who is Kolasinac, and Arsenal are able to take possession of the ball. And that had possibilities there. Kane in the middle and Son, but Aurier hit the first man, and Arsenal are now slicing it out of play for a throw into Tottenham on the far side. Yeah, I think Jose Mourinho just walked straight out of his coaching area, and Graham Scott, the 4th official, involved in an exchange.
I didn't quite see why he was getting so animated. Was there a decision, or so the players were reacting as well? I didn't quite get the gist of what that was.
But you're right, it was an animated exchange. Alderweireld hitting a long pass down the right hand side for Aurier, who races after it, keeps it in, and then it's popped out of play off the Tottenham man for a throw in to Arsenal, 10 yards away from the corner flag. Where's the hottest place that you've played, Matt? The hottest place that you've played a game of football? Have a ponder on that as Arsenal clear it away from the back and it bounces out of play near the halfway line.
Might not be the hottest, but one of the hardest was Beijing.
And the circumstances were?
In July or
pre-season tour?
Pre-season tour, and it was, you literally, you breathed air in, and it felt like you weren't breathing, basically. And after 5 minutes, your legs were completely gassed.
Perhaps not the cleanest air.
Maybe not.
Some might say.
Maybe not. But
that wasn't in the Bird's Nest Stadium, was it?
No, it wasn't in the Bird's Nest. But it was
Workers' Stadium.
Possibly.
I've been there.
I never used to pay attention to those kind of things, John. No, I just got on a bus and went there.
Have Stadium will play. Arsenal coming forward down the left-hand side. Tierney back towards the halfway line. I think I covered the Olympic pentathlon show jumping in. Oh no! I'll tell you what I did. I'll come back to that. Arsenal with Mustafi trying to work it forward, and now here's Bellerin and Pepe on his left foot, square from him. Ceballos 30 yards out, tried to play through it, bounces off Alderweireld. Pepe near the edge of the box, Lacazette on his left foot, gives it to Aubameyang, danger here, hits the shot against the post and it bounces down, and Lacazette couldn't get there on the follow-up. Alderweireld was able to scrape it away. Aubameyang in that position, that spelt big danger for Tottenham, and he hit the post, and now a foul on Pepe by Lucas Moura, and it's a free kick near the right side of the penalty area.
Super play from Lacazette. The vision to see the pass to Aubameyang was absolutely first class, really unselfish. He gets the ball, he looks like he's going to have a shot, but he sees the pass quickly. And Aubameyang, we've been talking about him getting in the game. He hasn't been in the game much, and that was a little bit of an effort of somebody that hasn't seen a lot of ball. He's leaning back, he strikes it well with his left foot, but has to hit the target from that range.
Yeah, it had goal written all over it.
Yeah,
left side of the box, a rising shot, but it hit the crossbar actually. Right near, actually very close to where Ben Davies hit the crossbar with his shot from distance in the first half.
He was right to go near post, I think. It's one of those where you just get your head down and drive it into the roof of the net. He just leant back a little bit and couldn't quite hit the target.
So it's still Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. 5 Live, our Premier League Sunday. Still Bournemouth, Leicester commentary to come from 7 o'clock. And the World Service for this match, the North London derby. And it's a free kick to Arsenal then, in a good position. Pepe to the right of the ball, Lacazette to the left. The angle would be for Pepe to curl it in, and here he is, and he hits it straight, rather tamely into the 3-man Tottenham wall. Bounces back for Nicolas Pepe in his yellow boots. Challenged and dispossessed by Lucas Moura, who runs it to the halfway line, was looking for a foul all the time, and Pepe bundled him over and is yellow carded for that.
Great work from Moura though, wasn't it? Defensively brilliant. Didn't allow Pepe to settle on the ball. He wanted an easy ride to shift it and cross it, but he wasn't going to allow him. Stole the ball off him and then got the wrong side of him. And Pepe, whenever you tackle from behind like that and a player goes down, because you're chasing the ball back from behind, I think it looks so much worse than what it is. And that for me is the reason why most referees always see that as a yellow card.
as Son might have been caught there by Mustafi, just sort of raised an eyebrow towards Michael Oliver. That was 15 yards inside the Arsenal half. But referee Oliver says no free kick, and Arsenal have it inside their own half. Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1 in the Premier League top scorer stakes. By the way, Jamie Vardy will be probably pretending that he's not interested in what Aubameyang is doing, waiting for kick-off in Bournemouth. Aubameyang's got 20 and Vardy's got 22 Premier League goals this season. They're the top two in that particular race. We're into the last half hour here, and it is we'll get the team news very shortly from Bournemouth Leicester. Test match is close to the finish. West Indies must be very nearly there. England still need 4 wickets for nothing if they're going to win it. Davis hoisting a ball forward, but it is intercepted by the broad chest of Shkodran Mustafi, who gives it to his left to Luiz, and now Kolasinac up to the halfway line. Aubameyang back into his own half, playing it back to David Luiz. That's the legacy of covering Aston Villa this week. Douglas and David. Now Mustafi to the right hand side, and Bellerin is beaten to it by Lucas Moura. Now Son down the line for Lucas Moura, who's going to do well to reach that, and he just can't. It rolls over the dead ball line next to the corner flag. Goal kick, Arsenal.
I feel Arsenal are just getting a tiny bit more control of this game than Tottenham at the moment. They look a little bit dangerous when they give away possession and if Tottenham break quickly, but I think that is the danger for Arsenal. If they start to really have more possession and more control of the ball, is when they give possession away high up and Tottenham can break, they are a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah, it's gone a little more cat and mouse, hasn't it, over the course of the last 10-15 minutes or so. Almost halfway through the second half. Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. If you've just got back into your cars, if you've been out and about on this lovely afternoon, if it is indeed a lovely Lo Celso style afternoon where you've been, Wolves 3-0 winners over Everton. Really important win for Aston Villa, 2-0 against Crystal Palace, as Harry Kane slides in on David Luiz, who was a little late there. Kane, David Luiz was caught, and it's a free kick to Arsenal.
Not sure if that was the other way round, John. In terms of, I think it was Luiz clattered into Kane, right. But he's gone for the original foul from Pepe, who came off the back of Winks, I think it was, who just cleaned him out. But yeah, Pepe just catches Winks late as he passes the ball, but then I'm sure it was David Luiz that took Kane out.
They're both okay, and they've wasted the free kick, and it's Arsenal who come forward with a low ball across, which Alderweireld is able to move into position and clear it away. The low cross from Tierney on the left hand side.
He was looking for Lacazette to get across the face of Alderweireld, wasn't he? And he just peeled back and almost wanted the ball lifted in the air, and Tierney whipped it across the face on the ground, and it was easy for Alderweireld to clear.
Gone a little quiet, Harry Kane. You know, we mentioned Aubameyang, but Kane's not been heavily involved.
No, especially in this second half. But I just feel Arsenal, it has the feeling of me that they're starting to get a little bit more control. They've created one really good goal-scoring opportunity and just seem to have more of the ball at the moment.
Ominously, a whole raft of substitutes begin to move forward. And the test match is over in Southampton. Eleanor Oldroyd.
The West Indies win by 4 wickets. The winning runs just a moment ago off the bowling of Ben Stokes, and Jason Holder, the West Indies captain, in the middle, is absolutely delighted. They've gone 1-0 up in this 3-match series, the West Indies. 1988 was the last time the West Indies won a series here in England. They are the holders of the Wisden Trophy after winning it at the beginning of 2019. But they have done really well here, the West Indies. They have chased down that total of 200 for the loss of 6 wickets. Fist bumping in the middle at the moment. That's the way that you celebrate in these socially distanced times, and you can just see the coach Phil Simmons on the balcony just embracing some of his players. Big smiles all round for West Indies. England have some thinking to do before next Thursday in Old Trafford.
Yeah, that's how you greet people in the grocers these days, never mind celebrating winning a test match. What a good test match though. What a good win for the West Indies, who looked as though they were almost certainly heading to defeat this morning. So West Indies win by 4 wickets, and you can watch the highlights today at the test, BBC 2, 7:30 tonight. Arsenal coming forward, 1-1 the score here in the North London derby. and Bukayo Saka is going to come on very shortly for Nicolas Pepe, which will be the first substitution. And on a day like today, a warm afternoon, you would anticipate, Matt Upson, that you would think that probably most of the 10 substitutes would be used.
You would think so, but that change, especially with Saka with the form he's in, I mean, it was a switch that I think we discussed before the game that is going to happen, and it looks likely to happen.
Yeah, with just over a quarter of the match to go. Here's Tierney away down the left-hand side for Arsenal, but watched very carefully by Sissoko, and in the end Tierney was watched so well by Sissoko, the Scotsman could only sort of tap it out for a throw-in to prevent it from going behind for a goal kick.
He's had a mixed game, Tierney, hasn't he? But I think this wing-back role is definitely a different challenge for him. For me, I very much see him as a fullback, because I think he's got good defensive awareness and his willingness to want to get back, and sometimes he's maybe not advanced up the pitch enough to play this role. And Kolasinac, for me, needs to release him a bit more and give him the security to go forwards and be a bit more relaxed with the ball and join him with the front three.
Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. Still Saka is waiting to come onto the field. I thought they might do it there. Tottenham won a free kick near the halfway line, but they go back to the edge of the penalty area. And now Lloris, all in green, in the goal down to our right, in front of that massive one-tier stand to our right. A number of the Tottenham supporters' flags are dotted around in the upper portions of it. Son, as Bellerin comes in with the challenge, disputed by Arsenal, but the free kick's given by Michael Oliver for Tottenham. Bellerin walks forward, palms apart. Free kick's been given, and Michael Oliver indicates that we are going to see the substitution now. Mikel Arteta in his grey pullover, sleeves pulled up to the elbows, walks across, puts his hand on the teenager's back, the 18-year-old Bukayo Saka. And actually we're going to have the drinks break now, so Saka is going to come on after he's had his team talk, he's had his individual team talk and his group team talk from Mikel Arteta, who's very Guardiola, isn't he, down there? Arteta standing one foot forward, 1 foot back, arms going this way, that way.
The mannerisms and body language very similar, aren't they?
Very, very. Yeah, so-so, some might say. So-so similar. And he's now gathering everyone around there. Jose Mourinho, somewhat more measured. Actually, sort of graceful movement.
Very, isn't it? Calm.
Mourinho. Yeah, little, almost like an opera singer, Mourinho. Just
it's interesting to a conductor.
Yeah,
it's interesting to see the two managers operate, isn't it? And the body language and how different they are, and how they've tried to get their message across.
Mourinho's nearly 60, Arteta's nearly 40. Doesn't that make you feel old? 57 Mourinho, 38 Arteta. First time they've met as managers. First time they've both been in charge for North London Derby, and it is going to be, as we mentioned, Nicolas Pepe coming on, being replaced by the 18-year-old, this exciting young Londoner, Bukayo Saka, who scored 4 goals this season, 12 assists as well in all competitions. Only De Bruyne and Trent Alexander-Arnold have more assists than Saka this season, and he scored his first Premier League goal in the recent win at Wolves, and I loved his reaction. It was so innocent, in this world in which we live. I loved this almost boyish reaction, or lack of reaction. Winks with the free kick up towards the edge of the penalty area, headed across the box, cleared away by Mustafi. Comes out to Sissoko, drives it across, but rather aimlessly, straight at Bellerin. And now Saka gets his first touch, and Bellerin tries to give it back down the right-hand side. Like I said, it's beaten to it by Davis, and the ball curls forward down the left-hand side to Harry Kane, who's away from Mustafi. The angle's very tight into the box, pokes it back to Son. Out comes Martinez and makes the block. What a good piece of goalkeeping that was. And I think they're suggesting that maybe Harry Kane was caught there after he pulled the ball back to Son, because there were a number of Tottenham shouts out there. Kane has stayed down inside the 6-yard box. Well saved by Martinez though, and Arsenal continuing to bring it forward. Still 1-1. The opening there, Kane beat Mustafi, all ends up on the Tottenham left. Here's Saka, Saka, white shirts all around him. Lovely return pass from Lacazette. Saka with the cross that is blocked immediately by Davis. Bounces for Bellerin. Bellerin flicks it away from Davis. And then Lucas Moura jumps into the challenge. The ball bounces for Saka. Saka curling it, took a deflection. Stretch away from Davinson Sanchez for Tottenham. And then cleared by Sissoko, who finds Moura on the left-hand side. You're going to have to stock up your thoughts, Matt, after all of that. Ball comes forward to the halfway line. It's deflected out of play, so pick the bones out of that.
What should we talk about? The goalkeeper?
Yes, I think so.
I think he deserves a mention because Martinez in that situation did absolutely brilliantly. Mustafi, Luiz go to sleep with a long clearance. Harry Kane, very aggressive, lures Mustafi in. David Luiz is never going to get there today. For some reason, he's just on his heels. Any opportunity to react to anything, he's half asleep. Kane just nicks it off him. And Martinez, the way he dives out and smothers at the feet of Lucas Moura is absolutely superb and really gets Arsenal off the hook.
Is that a cute piece of play from the England captain? Who David Luiz came in with the challenge. And
was it a challenge?
Well, no, it wasn't. And I'm not sure how much contact there was with Kane, but Kane went down.
Yeah.
And I think it was a sort of invitation for VAR to have a look at that.
Possibly. I think, if anything, because there was no challenge from David Luiz, I think it was more Kane's momentum took him into David Luiz. But it's sometimes one of those, John, where if it hadn't manufactured into a chance, perhaps it would have been looked at harder. But because the ball popped out to Son and there was a goal-scoring opportunity, which Martinez thwarted so well, I think it just gets overlooked sometimes.
Kane now just bumping into the back of Xhaka, and Xhaka ends up on his backside and glares at Kane, and it's a free kick to Arsenal near the centre circle. But the most important point is what a good piece of goalkeeping work again by Emiliano Martinez. The way that we're praising him, Matt, there's probably a howler waiting just round the corner.
Maybe, but you have to say, I mean, Arteta must be looking at it thinking, when Leno's fit, I'm gonna have to drop this guy, and he's probably done well enough to warrant potentially not being dropped.
Yeah, Leno, who himself has had a very decent season.
Yep.
Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. As I mentioned, Wolves 3-0 winners against Everton. Aston Villa 2-0 winners against Crystal Palace. So important for Bournemouth and Leicester in the 7 o'clock kickoff. You'll hear that here on 5 Live if you're on a long drive home tonight. Tomorrow night, Manchester United against Southampton, and significant results in the Championship as well. Stoke 2-0 winners against Birmingham to ease their relegation worries, and Leeds getting ever closer to the Premier League after their 1-0 win at Swansea. The West Indies have just won the Test match by 4 wickets. Here's Moura away down the left-hand side for Tottenham into the full-back position. Moura playing it across Son. He couldn't reach it, and it was cleared away by the recovering Xhaka, and the ball lands out of play for a throw-in to Tottenham. And the other big sporting event of the afternoon, the Styrian Grand Prix, the first ever Styrian Grand Prix, won by Lewis Hamilton with Valtteri Bottas in second. And Tottenham take the throw, Saka in with the challenge, ball out of play, and that is an Arsenal throw. Mikel Arteta is clapping his hands. I heard that mentioned this week, that it was the Styrian Grand Prix this week, and I thought, what is that? And it's a region of Austria, as was being explained by Jenny Gow earlier on in the afternoon. But it's the same track as the Grand Prix last weekend, so they called it after the region of Austria. The ball that stumped you. Here's Ceballos.
Always learning something new.
Well, that's my big learning. That's the big thing I've learned this week. Here is Arsenal winning a free kick. The challenge a little heavy over there on the far side, and Aubameyang just buffeted into by Davinson Sanchez, and it's a free kick to Arsenal. He's okay. Aubameyang back up on his feet.
Been stretched a couple of times, Arsenal, there, haven't they, in the last few minutes, looking a little bit shaky at the back again. David Luiz and Mustafi getting ran round a couple of times, once by Kane and then by Lucas Moura. They've got to be careful they don't slip up and give an opportunity to Tottenham.
15 minutes to go. Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. BBC Radio 5 Live. And the World Service, Lacazette just being pulled back near the centre circle. And Harry Winks being shown a yellow card. Arsenal free kick forward of the centre circle. We're going to get the team news in a moment, but I think we'll just see what happens with this Arsenal free kick first.
It's a definite yellow card, isn't it? Winks just blatantly pulling him back with the shirt. It was right under the nose of Michael Oliver.
Fourth Tottenham player into the yellow card in the North London derby. Arsenal take the free kick out towards the right hand side, then back towards the halfway line. Mustafi now just shuffles over the halfway line, and then Xhaka gives it to Ceballos. Ceballos is ball forward. Saka was hoping it was going to run into his path, but Winks was in, and then Tottenham played up towards Son here up against David Luiz. Arsenal need some reinforcements there, and they get them with Ceballos, who tried to give it back to David Luiz, and it bounces out of play for a throw-in to Tottenham. Let's get that team news then for our fourth Premier League commentary of the day from Bournemouth. Alistair Bruce Ball.
Not just so important for Bournemouth, John, it's so important. I think we're into must-win territory now. Eddie Howe is without a couple of key attackers for this one. Josh King is missing with a hamstring problem. Junior Stanislas starts on the bench with the relentless fixture list taking its toll. So Stacey, Danjuma and Solanke come in. Adam Smith is also missing. And one change for Leicester. Christian Fuchs in for Ryan Bennett, and still no Chilwell or Maddison for them.
Well, I hope it's as entertaining as the listen I had last Sunday night when I was listening to Alistair and Karen Carney with the Southampton-Manchester City match. I think that was one of the best games in the Premier League since the restart. So that is on from 7 o'clock tonight on 5 Live, and the ball played forward towards Lacazette, and he just got his feet mixed up, and that was an opening, and it ran through and past him to Lloris.
It literally went straight through his legs, didn't it? He didn't do anything. I think he was kind of confused whether to go with his left or right foot, and in the end just his feet stayed where they were and the ball went straight through the middle of them.
Yeah. Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1, and Bournemouth are now 6 points behind Watford and West Ham. Big pressure on them, and Leicester 1 point ahead of Manchester United and 1 point behind Chelsea. So there is the significance of that match right there. This time next week it'll be FA Cup semi-final time. You'll hear both of them, plus more Premier League commentaries on 5 Live next weekend. Arsenal involved, of course. Ball headed away on the edge of the penalty area by Bellerin, and then Saka plays it back to the Arsenal number 2, Bellerin, in his orange boots, who passes it forward to the teenager Saka. And now Lacazette holds it up. Bellerin in field. Still just the one substitution, and we've got just over 10 minutes to play. So I might be very wrong in terms of how many substitutes are going to be used by Mourinho and Arteta. Ceballos, just to the right of the centre circle, gives it to Bellerin, who's in space. Tottenham getting back into position. The first North London derby of the season was a draw. This is a draw. He has Bellerin though onto his left foot with the shot, unconvincing. Comes out Alderweireld, then Aubameyang with the shot from the angle, and Lloris had to be quick to his left to push it away and wide and behind.
That's a difficult ball to take from Aubameyang, and he does really well to hit the target. Bellerin has a shot, it deflects, and the amount of spin on this ball to hit it first time on the half volley, it was just curling into that far post as well. It's a lovely strike from Aubameyang, and good strong left hand on from Lloris.
Lovely shot from Aubameyang.
See the spin on the ball, John.
Oh, that was lovely.
Yeah.
Corner then. Saka high and deep to the back post, and David Luiz was there, and it dropped over his head, and Ben Davies, who was behind him, it just landed on his forehead, and he glanced it behind for another corner to Arsenal from the left-hand side, this one. So it is going to be Saka again, who is making his way all the way across from right over there to the Arsenal left to take this as an outswinger. And Saka just moves away, raises his right arm. 10 minutes to go. In it comes to the near post, cleared away by Serge Aurier, who got there ahead of everyone else, and actually he's managed to find a pass to Lo Celso near the halfway line. Bellerin went with him, put in the challenge, and then Lo Celso's pass forward is blocked by Bellerin. Then a 50-50 between Mustafi and Lo Celso, and then it bounces away, and Mustafi just brings him down. Free kick.
You're not going to get a better opportunity for Mustafi as a defender to really go straight through Lo Celso fairly there with the ball. It was like you said, it was a 50-50, and he just stopped. He didn't follow through, didn't try and win the ball, and ended up having to foul Lo Celso. It's disappointing.
Former central defender Matt Upson. Here's Moura playing it through to Kane left side of the area, but Martinez was quickly out and blocked it. The angle was tight, blocked it with his chest, came out upright, spread his arms and used his Argentine chest to block it behind for a corner.
There's Harry Kane with that run again, just drifting in between Mustafi and Luiz, but goalkeeper gets out and stays big, doesn't he? Makes a good frame, his legs are together, gets his chest up high, manages to block it out for a corner.
Corner to Tottenham. Harry Kane near the penalty spot. Sanchez is there. Here's the delivery from Son. It's headed in from the edge of the 6-yard box. Alderweireld puts Tottenham 2-1 up in the last 10 minutes of this North London derby. Just a little flick of the head into the Arsenal net, and it's Tottenham 2, Arsenal 1.
Well, the Arsenal defensive frailties have reared their head again, this time a set piece. It's a nicely guided header from Alderweireld, who arrives into the box, but they're zonal Arsenal. Nobody really takes responsibility to attack the ball. You've got 3 Tottenham players, Aurier, Alderweireld, Kane, they're all in there on the move, attacking the ball. Aurier is the first to get his head to it, and it's just a glance. There's no real Arsenal player trying to come across and head that. Tierney's in there. It's a bit of a mismatch with him and Alderweireld, but he glances it into the far post with a lovely angle and puts Spurs in the driving seat in this last 10 minutes.
Tottenham have come from 1-0 down in this derby match here in their new stadium. The first derby match between these teams here in the newly rebuilt ground, and now they lead by 2-1 in the last 10 minutes. And Tottenham have made a change immediately. Lucas Moura is withdrawn, one of the forward players. Jose Mourinho has got him straight off the field with Tottenham 2-1 up against Arsenal. And he's brought on... Who came on for Tottenham? Just having a look to see who it is who's come onto the field. And it's not entirely clear.
I can't see anyone yet. Oh, it's Bergwijn. Bergwijn's down here on the left.
Bergwijn has come on. Yeah, well spotted, Matt. Son playing it forward. Here's Harry Kane now down the left-hand side. There's no one in the middle, but Kane goes past Mustafi, who went to ground. Shoots, saved by Martinez. Comes out to Bergwijn near the edge of the area. Initially blocked by Xhaka, and then a curling shot from distance from Lo Celso over the top by 1.5 yards.
Great opportunity again, wasn't it? Harry Kane keeps bursting down this far-hand side. It's sloppy play from Mustafi, who gives it away, and then he's caught short. Kane gets the wrong side of him. He then tries to slide Mustafi so early. Kane stays on his feet, but it's a good strong hand from Martinez. The ball pops out to Bergwijn, but it's up in the air and bouncing. Very difficult to get any contact, and Arsenal managed to get back and just smother the opportunity.
Another good save, Martinez. And we're going to see another Tottenham change. They are going to bring on Oliver Skipp into the midfield to replace Lo Celso, and Arsenal are going to make 3 changes. Tierney is off, and coming on, also coming off, Bellerin. So the 2 fullbacks are off, Tierney and Bellerin. And who's the third player who's coming off?
Looks to be Kolasinac.
Here he comes, yeah, Kolasinac. So they are off, and coming on are Joe Willock, Cedric Suarez and Reece Nelson. So triple change for Arsenal, and Tottenham leading by 2-1. And this would be very welcome after a difficult few days really, and the reaction to everything that happened when Tottenham drew 0-0 at Bournemouth earlier this week. Ball played forward by Arsenal from David Luiz through the inside left position, but Lacazette couldn't get there, and it runs through to Hugo Lloris. So Cedric Suarez has taken up the position on the right-hand side of defence.
Just seeing Mikel Arteta on the touchline scratching his head. I can fully understand why. He must be so frustrated with the goals that Arsenal have conceded here today. Created a couple of decent opportunities as well, but just we saw the warning sign, didn't we? A couple of times down this side, the Mustafi side, Kane and Moura getting in, and they really have been made to pay for poor defensive play, Arsenal.
Tottenham coming forward again down the right-hand side. Sissoko and Aurier together, and Aurier's attempted cross is blocked behind by Saka, and it's a Tottenham corner. And the goal that Alderweireld scored, just a straightforward goal from a corner, a headed goal from a corner.
What it is, John, zonal defending with nobody taking responsibility to go and head the ball, and you have to sometimes leave your zone to go and attack the ball, and Tottenham just did it better than Arsenal.
So it is a corner for Tottenham, who are in absolutely no hurry here. 5 minutes to go. Son with the corner. Here it is, swung to the near post, headed away, comes out. They've managed to defend this corner. And then Winks plays it back towards the halfway line to Sanchez. Sanchez, right foot shot, pumped down the left hand, pass, pumped down the left hand side. Sissoko is after it, headed down by Cedric Suarez. And then Bergwijn just nudging over Joe Willock. Yellow card for the newly arrived Bergwijn. He's only been on the field for a few seconds.
It's been quite quick to get the card out today, Michael Oliver, a couple of times. I can see some of the fouls, but that was okay. It was slightly from behind, but it was a little bit more of a shoulder to shoulder than a clear trip from behind, wasn't it?
Arsenal chasing the game now. Cedric Suarez, little ball infield towards Reece Nelson, who's also operating on the right hand side here for Arsenal. Another of the substitutes. Nelson. Willock gets involved. Back it goes to Ceballos. Ceballos' pass blocked by Kane. Tottenham could be off on the counter-attack here. Son plays it past Mustafi. Kane making ground through the middle. Space for Son. He's up to the edge of the area. Son into the box on his right foot, curls it straight into David Luiz, who recovered and backpedaled well there, actually. Give him credit, and it's behind for a corner.
No, got himself back in, and I just fancied Son to try and drive past him. Instead he opted to try and shift it and shoot through the legs or just down the side of David Luiz. You feel if he'd have ran at him with the ball and tried to go past him, he might have had more success.
Warm afternoon. I can see Harry Kane after that breakaway. It's been quite an open game actually in the last few minutes or so. Kane just leaning forward, Sissoko as well. It's a corner though, last one they had from this side, their left, Tottenham, they scored it. So Alderweireld and Kane again in that position just outside the 6-yard box. Here's Son's delivery, not so good this time, headed away by Mustafi, and it bounces out of play near the halfway line. If you've just switched on, more to come at the end of this match on the West Indies. Very good 4-wicket win in the first test, and making it when it seemed at one point earlier on today that they were right up against it. So West Indies 1-0 up in the 3-test series. And Bournemouth-Leicester commentary to come. Manchester United, Southampton tomorrow night. Tottenham 2, Arsenal 1. Heading towards the closing stages here. 2 minutes to go. Bergwijn challenged by Ceballos. It's deflected out of play. There's some consternation of which way that went. Was that a classic referee gives it one way, assistant gives it the other? I think it might have been.
I think you're right.
Arsenal's throw, they've taken it. The speed is of the essence here for Arsenal. If Tottenham win this, they'll go back above Arsenal in the league table. Now Cedric Suarez back to the halfway line. Ceballos, Mustafi, who's been beaten 2 or 3 times in this second half incidentally by Son and Kane. If Harry Kane were to score in this game, he'd become the leading scorer in North London derbies on his own, currently the joint leading scorer, and only Martinez denied him when it looked as though he was in. Arsenal crossfield pass, but that's intercepted by the head of Serge Aurier. Now Sissoko brings it infield. Saka tackling back. Sissoko's still going. Sissoko holds off the teenager, takes it out towards the right hand side, draws the challenge from Xhaka and wins the free kick. Saka is furious with that and throws the ball down into the pitch surface here, and it bounces away, and it's a free kick to Tottenham, just what they and Mourinho will have wanted. And Michael Oliver says that show of dissent from the teenager deserves a yellow card.
The yellow card's out again, and very naive, wasn't it, from Xhaka? I mean, you could be frustrated you're not getting the ball, but you can't tackle through the back of someone's leg while they're standing. It's just going to be a free kick in an area where Tottenham can now just slow the tempo of the game.
So Tottenham 2, Arsenal 1. Since Tierney went off, Saka now operating back at left back as Arsenal come forward again. Cedric Suarez. 90 minutes are almost up. Fourth official Graham Scott suddenly appears on the touchline with his great big electronic board. It'll go up any moment now. 4 minutes of added time for Arsenal to make it 2-2, just like the game at the Emirates earlier on this season. Cedric Suarez onto his left foot, curls it in, easily headed down and away at the near post. Tottenham and Mourinho will be furious if they don't see this out for a victory. David Luiz now carrying the ball forward. David Luiz turns, gives it back. Arsenal have picked up since their opening 2 defeats following the restart, but this would be a loss to their big rivals. However, Suarez plays it in. Alderweireld could be the winning goal scorer, comes across and heads it away on his knee on the edge of the penalty area, and then Son very cleverly wins a throw-in 10 yards away from the halfway line. Jose Mourinho, might be some talk of another change, but he says no, just hang on. Yep, no, we are going to see a change. Lamela is going to come on. Not quite yet though. Davis takes the throw for Tottenham. Kane sandwiched between Mustafi and
Suarez. Cedric, I think.
Yeah. And they're okay. There might have been a little flash of heads in there, I'm not sure. Play's been stopped. I think everyone's all right, and it's a free kick to Tottenham. Lamela's still not coming on, and we've already had a minute and a quarter. Referee Oliver points at his watch. He says, I'm watching the time. 4 minutes of added time. Davis lifts it forward, left-footed, down into the Arsenal right-back position to Bergwijn. Back to Kane. And Kane now coming in and going for a curling shot from the angle, but Martinez is able to go down to his left and clutch it.
I think Mourinho will be absolutely delighted with this result, won't he? I mean, when you think of how poor they were at Bournemouth and a little bit of negativity around the team, it's just the ideal result for him to get things back on track and just to lift the mood at Tottenham at the moment.
Cedric Traoré, ball down the right. Aubameyang with the cross, headed away by Davinson Sanchez under no particular pressure, but Lacazette was there behind him. Lacazette, who's opened the scoring in the first half with an excellent goal. Watch that on Match of the Day 2 tonight, 10:30. Son equalised within a couple of minutes. Just the one goal in the second half. It came late, 82nd minute. Alderweireld's header from the corner. Arsenal coming forward, trying to find the equaliser. Lacazette challenged, goes down. No free kick. Tottenham just whack it away downfield. Still Lamela waits to come on. We're into the 3rd minute of 4 of added time. David Luiz bringing the ball forward down the left wing. David Luiz still going. Here's the cross in towards Lacazette, headed up and away by Alderweireld, and then nodded further away on the edge of the box for Tottenham by Skip, and eventually the ball deflected out of play for a throw-in to Spurs, and we will see the next Tottenham change. Son is off and Lamela coming on to replace him. Do you think Tottenham deserve it, Matt, if they get it?
I wouldn't say they deserve it, but then I think it's been very even. I think either team, if either team was to walk away with a 2-1 victory, you'd say, OK, it's been quite a level game. I thought Arsenal at the start of the second half started to show a bit more control, created a great opportunity with Aubameyang to hit the bar, but they've just been so vulnerable at the back, Arsenal. So you have to take your hat off to Tottenham for saying that they have exploited that, and if it stays as it is, it's a really good 2-1 victory.
Yeah, they've had some chances. Arsenal, just looking back at them now, there's quite a list of them on my pad here. Aubameyang with the shot that hit the bar. Aubameyang's curling shot, that was a very good save by Lloris. That would have been a delightful goal. Maybe a chance still for Arsenal to get the equaliser. Long ball forward. Aurier nods it infield, and it's cleared by Sanchez up towards Lamela, and Lamela now running away and through from Mustafi, who just got back in and put the challenge in, and then Lamela slides in on Saka, who's just got to be careful here, and the final whistle goes, and Tottenham have won it. They've come from a goal down to beat Arsenal, and Jose Mourinho steps forward and just bumps fists with Mikel Arteta. Jose Mourinho, winner in the North London derby by 2-1. The late winner from the header from Toby Alderweireld from the corner. Matt Upson.
Yeah, well, hats off to Tottenham. They've exploited the weaknesses that Arsenal have shown here today, and it's all been about the defensive frailties which on several occasions Tottenham and Harry Kane and Son and Moria were able to exploit, and Alderweireld on a set piece, and to get the victory. I think Arsenal played well at times and possibly looked more dangerous to Spurs in their build-up, but you can't concede goals like that. You can't make mistakes that Arsenal have made and expect to win tough Premier League matches.
Yeah, an improvement certainly though for Tottenham after the criticism following their 0-0 draw at Bournemouth earlier this week. It is a 3rd consecutive home win for Tottenham, incidentally, and for Arsenal, their 3rd defeat since the resumption, and now, well, almost certainly no Champions League football next season, but I think we knew that beforehand. And and they will have to regroup. Liverpool at home on Wednesday, and then the FA Cup semi-final next Saturday against Manchester City. So that's what lies ahead for Arsenal after their defeat here in the sunshine in the North London derby. Tottenham emerging victorious by 2-1.
Matt Upson, I'm trying to read Jose Mourinho's face as he walks off the pitch. It's not giving much away, but I mean, given the noise around them, that is a huge result for Tottenham.
It couldn't be any better tonic for Tottenham at the moment, could there, than a local derby win at home. You have to say that, you know, their game plan has been pretty good. They've sat in at times. They've hit Arsenal in the areas that they know they're vulnerable, especially down the sides with 3 centre-backs. And in that second half, Kane, Moura once or twice really looked to get at Arsenal, and to concede the winning goal on a set piece is really disappointing from Arsenal's point of view. But like you say, a huge boost for Tottenham.
It seems quite unfair on Emiliano Martinez, who I saw there was just sort of sat shaking his head on the turf at the full-time whistle.
He's been an outstanding performer for me. I think he's been so good since he's come into the team. To have been at the club for that long and to play second or third fiddle all the time, you almost get into a mentality, probably as a goalkeeper, where you start to question whether you are good enough to step in and take that shirt. He's been there that long, but he's been handed this opportunity and he's just been brilliant, very assured, good with his feet, and he's made some top quality saves here today.
I've no idea if he was shaking his head at the quality of the defending in front of him. You couldn't blame him. And I mean, we used to have that Spursy thing. This was almost Arsenal-y in that they score a great goal and then do that.
Just asleep, weren't they? I mean, some of the errors for me are just not being tuned in. Some of the fact that I don't think David Luiz and Mustafi have the pace to be able to cope at times, especially as an outside of a 3 centre back. You're going to get ran in the channels and ran down the sides. Neither of them can cope with that with pace. So, you know, ultimately you end up sitting deeper and deeper and deeper, or when you do come out and you get hit on the break, you get exploited. And it's a real head scratcher for Mikel Arteta, because he wants to play a certain type of football, but you have to be solid and trust your centre backs to be able to cope with that at times. And at the moment in this team, Arsenal just can't.
They clearly weren't as negative, Spurs, as they've been before. Case in point being that they had a shot on target after 10 seconds, which is something they didn't manage in 90 minutes against Bournemouth. But I guess you have to do that in a North London derby. Is that not an approach that they should be going for more often, rather than being so passive?
Yeah, well, that shot was courtesy of David Luiz holding onto the ball and giving it away. But, you know, it's little moments like that set the tone for the game. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of, if you're not game ready in your head when that whistle goes, it sets the tone for the game. And that first instance there said it all for Arsenal here today. They were good in patches, but from Tottenham's perspective, they had a bit more about them. They looked more positive. They looked more on the front foot in terms of wanting to go forward, and it showed with the amount of efforts on goal and the amount of times that Harry Kane got involved or touches in the box was far, far better than the match at Bournemouth.
And positivity is something Spurs need a lot of at the minute. Thank you very much to Matt Upson and John Murray there at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We'll give you a reaction as we get it. So Spurs 8th in the league. They've gone above Arsenal, 52 points. Arsenal just below them in 9th on 50 points. So they are now 3 behind Wolves in 6. 6 points behind Manchester United. 5th place, of course, may or may not be good enough for Champions League football. We'll find out tomorrow with the result of City's appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. But it looks like both of them at best are hoping for Europa League football. Let's go back now to South.